How's it going, Cuse Nation? Welcome to Orange Heat. My name's Giovanni Heater. I want to first off start out by thanking you for watching, thanking you for being active, and thanking you for being some of the best Syracuse fans out there. There's none better in the country. We got a great show for you here tonight. I'm going to first touch upon a little bit of recruiting. Then I'm going to move into basketball, a little post-game on the Eastern Washington win. And then I'm going to move into a Louisville football preview. So we got a great show for you here tonight, and let's dive right into it. First off, I want to ask everybody to go ahead and add me on the Twitter at GioHeater, Gioheater. I also want to ask that you guys like, comment, and subscribe on the YouTube channel. I'm really trying. I want to get a lot of feedback out of you guys, if you guys don't mind, because it really can help create more of a productive show. I want to hear what you guys are liking, what you guys aren't liking, how you guys are feeling as fans, stuff like that. So definitely be active in the comment section down on YouTube. Be active on the Twitter, and it'll certainly help me out and help to create a better show. So without further ado, here we go. As I said, I'm going to touch upon the recruiting a little bit. There's not much there other than, there's no new players or anything that we haven't already discussed. I really just want to touch upon one thing that I've been thinking about all week. And it's really been in the back of my head. I read it somewhere, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. Coach Dino Babers and Coach Jim Boeheim both feel very equal on this topic. And here it is. Recruiting for them isn't about getting the 5-star players. Okay? It's simply about getting the best players to fit their systems. Jim Boeheim strives for the best basketball system he possibly can with that strict defense and hopefully high-octane scoring. Dino Babers, same thing. Wants a fast, productive offense behind a pocket-passing quarterback, some great wide receivers, and some good mix in the run game. So, really, both coaches, I just want to remind all the fans, it's not about getting the elite of the elite 5-star players. You can make the best team in the country out of some 3, 4, and a couple 5-star players, if maybe not any at all, just by having them fit your system perfectly. And I think we have some of the best players for that, both on football and basketball. Football, Tommy DeVito, I think, is going to fit Dino Babers' system very, very, very well. I think the receivers, same deal. I mean, we can get into that whole nother time. Basketball, same thing with some of the recruits we have coming in. I'm going to do a recruiting episode sooner rather than later. I'm not exactly sure when, but that is going to be coming up in the short future here. So be looking out for that, and we can dig way deeper into this conversation. Now, let's dive right into Syracuse basketball. Tyus Battle earlier this week was named preseason All-American. He was the only shooting guard on that list. There's only 5, one at each position, and he was named the preseason All-American team for shooting guard. So that's huge for Syracuse and this basketball team. Last night, Syracuse basketball defeated Eastern Washington 66-34 at the Carrier Dome in a season-opening effort. It was a game that really was offensively underwhelming, and we'll certainly get into that. Your starting lineup for that night was Tyus Battle at point guard. A little interesting. Frank Howard did not play in tonight's game. Jalen Carey did not get the start, nor did Howard Washington. So Tyus Battle started off the ball game at point guard. Buddy Boeheim started off at shooting guard. Brissett and Elijah Hughes both started out at forward. And Pascal Chukwu was in for your Orange at center. Tyus Battle and O'Shea Brissett both played 29 minutes of action. It wasn't quite as much as last year when they were playing all 40, but they were the biggest chunks of time last night in the win. It was the O'Shea Brissett show, rather. And he finished off the night huge, 20 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, and he was the only player on the Syracuse basketball squad to finish in double-digit frames in the points column. He is going to win our Syracuse basketball Flame of the Game tonight for his efforts in the win. Barma Sidibe and Tyus Battle finished off the night with just 8 points. They were the second leading scorers. Elijah Hughes, Merrick Dolezaj, and Jalen Carey all finished off with 7 points. Buddy Boeheim was the next player to score any buckets, and he was a little bit disappointing for me. He only finished off the night with 3 points. He was 0 for 5 from the three-point line, and 1 for 11 from field goal. So, a little bit disappointing. He did get his first bucket in an orange uniform as far as regular season statistics go, but I was looking for a little bit more from him, and 0 for 5 from 3 is big. I hope that doesn't take any kind of toll on his confidence whatsoever. I don't think it will. It was the first game. Kinks to fix in there. It was Jalen Carey's first action. Team getting used to that. With Jalen Carey being said, let's scoot over to an injury note. Last night, as I said, no Frank Howard, still dealing with that injury. Jalen Carey did play 18 minutes in the ball game, and Howard Washington also made an appearance. So, with that being said, we're not sure when we're going to get Frank Howard just quite yet. And Jalen Carey clearly can play. And Howard Washington also as well. As I said, though, I don't think he's going to be as big of a part of this basketball team because we have so many talented players. For lack of a better term, the offense sputtered completely. Shots weren't dropping. There was really nothing special out of the preseason All-American Tyus battle, so I was a little bit disappointed in that. Not quite sure where he was. I expected a big game out of him, but hold the brakes because it is a very, very, very long basketball season. I am in no way, shape, or form worried yet. I'm just simply stating what happened, what I saw, and what can be improved upon. One thing that was really staggering to me, really mind-boggling, was some of these statistics here, and I'll lay them out for you. 38.7% field goal shooting. That's really, really not good. And we're coming into a season where we really expected a huge scoring team. It was finally going to be getting over that hump. We knew we were going to have a good defense. We've always had a good defense. We needed that scoring. That was the missing piece lately. Wasn't there last night. Long season, though. 3 for 17 from three-point range. That is a number that scares me. We thought Buddy Boeheim was going to be able to shoot very well. We thought Elijah Hughes was going to shoot well. We thought shooters like Battle and Brissett were going to get better. Frank also can shoot the money ball quite a bit. 3 for 17 is not great, guys, but just first game of action. Everyone has an off night. As I said, I'm not worried. 15 for 28 from the free throw. You got to make the freebies. There's no way around that. You got to make the freebies. Sometimes that wins and loses basketball games, so a little bit disappointed there. I'm not going to lie. It felt like years prior. We just couldn't score the basketball. We're coming into this season hoping for a lot more scoring outbursts, and it wasn't there. It felt kind of like, with the Boeheim sanctions and everything, the recruits weren't necessarily there. People were playing more minutes, and we haven't been able to score the ball as effectively as we'd like to, and that's really how it felt last night. A little bit of deja vu there where I was hoping we weren't going to have any. But it's a long season. Something that caused a little bit of concern was 28-10 at halftime. And that's what really reminded me of the seasons prior. 10 points, great. Defensive end held them to 10 points. That's excellent. That's really, really good. And we'll get into the defensive side of the ball in just a moment here. But 28 points is just not enough. You want to start out the season strong, and it just feels like 28 points is not enough. And you can't get through this season with those kind of performances. You need to score in bunches. And you're not going to be able to get through ACC play without scoring more than that. The defense is going to help you. We have a very strong defense, and that's always going to help you. But last night, Duke put up 118 points on the number 2 ranked team in the country, Kentucky. Duke beat Kentucky 118-84, and if you score 84 points, you should win that basketball game 9 times out of 10, and Duke obliterated that. 118 points is an insane amount. Zion Williams, R.J. Barrett, all of them are exceptional players, and that scares me a little bit when you think that Kentucky's a very, very good basketball team, and they still put up 84 points, so it's not like Kentucky's a pushover. It's like, wow, how about Duke? And, we're over here putting up 66 on a not very good basketball team. So that was a little strike for concern, but it is very, very early, just a game into the season. We'll see how everything plays out. I think we're going to be just fine, and I still think Syracuse is going to win out the ACC this year and become your ACC champions. But we'll get into predictions and whatnot at another time, not tonight. With all the negatives, there were some nice offensive glimpses, I have to say. Obviously, O'Shea Brissett, huge to see him come into the season like that. He played very aggressive, and he was just a lot of fun to watch, to be honest. A lot of dunks. I mean, he had a lot of confidence in his shot. He passed the ball very well, so he was having a good time out there. It was great to see. One thing that shocked me was Pascal Chukwu was aggressive in the paint offensively. He was bodying people. He was dunking on people, so it was great to see Pascal playing like that offensively in the paint area. Marek Dolezaj has a clear confidence boost in his shooting ability. He was 3 for 3 from field goal tonight, and he hit 1 3-pointer, and that was his only attempt. So Marek Dolezaj clearly more confident in his abilities. He didn't really hesitate whatsoever shooting the 3-ball. Shooting the long jumpers, great to see out of him. Another thing, Jalen Carey can clearly drive the basketball well, and he reminds me a little bit, not to make comparisons, but if you ever watch Gary Payton play, great NBA legend, he kind of holds the ball almost like a football when he's driving through so no one can really bat away at it before he puts up the layup, and you do get 3 steps. So it was really nice to see him, secure the ball well and go up hard with those layups. And it certainly showed on the basketball court. And he also has a nice shot stroke that I noticed. I mean, he hit a 3, and he just has kind of a nice stroke to his shot. So it's a pretty shot, and usually the pretty ones are the ones that go in. So that's nice. Boeheim had a little bit to say following the ball game. Jim Boeheim, that is, head coach. He said that clearly we need to shoot the ball better, and it is the first game of the year, and we'll see that. He said that he thinks Jalen Carey did some things well, but the team wasn't really able to fully mesh as well as he would have liked to because Jalen Carey hasn't played. And that certainly hurts your basketball team when one of your biggest players hasn't played so far. So, strikes for concern. Coach isn't worried. I'm not worried. Fans aren't worried. It's a win in the column. Jim Boeheim also said there's absolutely no update whatsoever on Frank Howard's condition. So we're not sure if we're going to have him going forward for Morehead State. We're not sure if we're going to have him for UConn after that. So I'll update you guys on that as soon as I can. I'll be active on the Twitter. I'll get that out on Twitter. But from the coach, he was very strict on as soon as someone asked, no update whatsoever just yet. Now, let's dig into the defensive side of the basketball. Defense was very, very sharp, as always. I expected nothing less. We held Eastern Washington to the fewest ever points allowed in the Carrier Dome. That was 34 points. So that was, that's huge. That's brand new, and it's kind of going without being said. But nonetheless, there it is, and that's an interesting fact right there. So clearly the defense is very good. Our press defense was very, very impressive. This is not even counting our 2-3 zone defense or any man-to-man that we played. Our press defense alone, which we have the capability to play with a deeper bench, we can play it with more time and stuff like that. So the press defense created 19 turnovers. That's huge. 19 turnovers is a lot of points, and that was huge in part to holding them to 34. And that was huge in part to some of our transition offense that we were able to get going. Pascal Chukwu, Barama Sidibe, and Marek Dolezaj all got in with some blocks. Elijah Hughes and O'Shea Brissett had 3 steals apiece last night. And the defense, as always, was just very good. The offense just clearly needs to step it up a little bit. That's all I have to say really about the basketball game. Defense, very good. It's a very long season, but I'd love to see some more offensive production. So let's get that going. The next game for the Orange basketball squad is going to be Saturday at 7 o'clock against Morehead State in the Carrier Dome. It's the second game of that 2K Classic. And then after that, we got UConn in the Garden. It's a good old rivalry game. That's going to be on Thursday night, the 15th of November. That's going to be at 7 o'clock. Huge game there, rivalry game. Lots riding on it. Fans are excited. I've seen a lot of people on March Madness and stuff on Twitter very excited about that ball game. So that should be a close one as always. Now, with basketball out of the way, let's move into Syracuse football. First, I'm going to discuss the rankings from this week. Syracuse comes in all 3 polls, the coaches polls, the AP Top 25, and the College Football Playoff Top 25, ranked at 13th in the nation. I think that's a great spot for us. I think maybe a little bit high, but definitely, certainly not going to complain. Some teams ahead of us lost. certainly helped us out a little bit. Winning big on the road certainly helped us out. And Syracuse, it's a little bit hard to believe. It's the first time in my life with this much success. It's really hasn't sunk in yet as a fan, and I'm just trying to enjoy it and live in the moment. I think a win this weekend could push you into the top 10. You're playing Louisville at the Dome. That should be a very winnable game. We'll get into that in a few moments. But I think a win could push you into the top 10, and not for nothing, but I think that it's for this reason. You're going to make more money if you say top 10 game, Syracuse versus Notre Dame, than you are if top 25 game, Syracuse versus Notre Dame. So if they squeeze us into the top 10, it could be for the simple reason they might make a little bit more money with Syracuse versus Notre Dame if it's two top 10 teams. Nonetheless, I think regardless, we're deserving of top 10 if we can really dismantle Louisville well this Friday night. College game day, ESPN starts at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I think it's a great likelihood you're going to be seeing that in the Bronx, New York, for Syracuse versus Notre Dame. The only competition really for them not coming to Syracuse versus Notre Dame is Cincinnati unranked versus number 12 ranked UCF. And then you have number 22 Iowa State traveling to 19 ranked Texas. The Longhorns and the Cyclones certainly will be a good game, but I think with two, fingers crossed, top 10 teams, or even just top 15 teams, that is, saying Syracuse and Notre Dame both win this weekend, how could you not go there? I think the only thing stopping you from that would be College game day has been held at neutral sites twice so far this year. Once at the beginning of the season for one of the kickoff games, and then second for Florida versus Georgia down in Jacksonville. So that could play into a factor a little bit, but I think you will be seeing College game day at Syracuse Notre Dame, which is crazy to think about, but it's so exciting. I'm really bummed, though, it's not in Syracuse or even at Notre Dame, but especially not at the Carrier Dome. I know I would be there bright and early for College game day, pumped and screaming my butt off, supporting the Orange, because I do love this team, as I know many of you listeners do. As fans, we kind of pour our heart and soul into it. So maybe next year, College game day will come here. You never know. It is our last home game, so it's definitely not this week. But Cuse, Notre Dame, probably going to see College game day. Next, let's talk our chances for the college football playoff. I'm going to say it flat out. It's a long shot, but it's possible. Very, very long shot, though. First of all, we need to win out. We need to finish off the season 10-2 wins coming against Notre Dame Louisville this weekend, Notre Dame next weekend, and then a ranked Boston College at Boston College the week following that. We would also need Clemson to lose 2 of their next 3 ball games. Their next 3 ball games include at 17th ranked Boston College this weekend. Then they're hosting Duke at home, and then they're also hosting the following week South Carolina for rivalry week. I think if you're going to lose, I think all 3 teams are capable. I'd love to see it happen. I'd love to see Boston College win in Chestnut Hill. That's where game day is this weekend. I don't think it's going to happen, though. I think Boston College stands a chance. Duke was ranked for a while this year. They have a decent squad, but I don't see it happening. I think Clemson's very, very good, but that is what we would need in order to get into the college football playoffs. As I said, it's a very long shot. We would also need teams like West Virginia, teams like an Oklahoma, teams like a Georgia, teams like a Michigan, etc. We would need them to lose, and we would need basically all of them to lose because they're all ahead of us, and it's a long shot. There was a list that came out, the 13 teams that can still have a chance at the college football playoffs. Syracuse was on that list, but it's the longest shot out there. Who knows? College football is an amazing thing. Strange things happen every day. I've definitely seen crazier things in college football, so you never know. That's the beauty of the sport, and that's the beauty of the beast. That one loss to Clemson, 4th down stop, would have put us in the playoffs. That game against Pitt, same deal. So that's the beauty of the beast right there in itself. If we don't get into the college football playoffs, we're still looking at a hugely successful season. And if you win out, you're looking at a New Year's Six Bowl, and that would be absolutely huge. You're looking at, with the ACC plans and whatnot, the bids and everything you have, you're looking at the Peach Bowl or you're looking at the Fiesta Bowl. I would certainly love to be in either of those. I think that if, like I said, we'd have to win out. So that means beating Notre Dame. So Notre Dame's going to get one of those. I don't think we're going to play Notre Dame twice. So you're looking at one or the other for a possibility. You never know. Let's see how that plays out. It's exciting stuff. Saying you drop a loss or two, you're likely, unfortunately, to land in somewhere around the Pinstripe Bowl, the Sun Bowl, somewhere in the Belk Bowl, somewhere in that general area. They're not the most exciting bowl games. Nonetheless, you can't really complain. It is a bowl game. I don't think, everyone's saying we're going to be going to the Pinstripe Bowl if we don't win out. I don't think that's the case. Here's why. Why would they have Syracuse play at Yankee Stadium twice in basically within a month? That just doesn't make too much sense to me. I don't think the fans would travel twice. It's going to be even colder then. So, I don't think you go to Yankee Stadium twice. But who knows? We'll see. Fingers crossed. I think we're just going to win out. And then we're not going to have to worry about it because we're going to get the New Year's Six Bowl, which would be huge. Let's move on to a Louisville Cardinals preview. Louisville's going to be traveling into the Dome this Friday night, 2 days away from now. It is a Wednesday night right now. So 2 days away from now, Louisville's going to be in the Carrier Dome. It's going to be 13th ranked Syracuse taking on unranked Louisville. Louisville's going to head into this game with a 2-7 record following a 77-16 shellacking that they took from Clemson. The Tigers really held off at the end of the game, to be quite honest. Their final point, their 77th point, came with 10 minutes remaining in the ballgame. And really got nothing to say other than Bobby Petrino deserves it. He deserves the blowout. I don't like the guy. I've never really liked the guy. He's done some iffy things in his personal life, hard not to judge. He also came into the Dome a couple years ago and definitely didn't hold back running up the scoreboard against us. So, no holds barred. I'm glad Dabo Swinney understood that, and he really ran up the score, and I think we're going to do the same this weekend. ESPN is giving Syracuse a 92% chance to beat the Cardinals in the Carrier Dome, so that was interesting. Really, they're giving Louisville virtually no chance. Funny that they say that, because that's basically what the standings there were for the Clemson-Syracuse game. They give Clemson a 91% chance to beat Syracuse. Syracuse almost win that ball game. Like we talk about over and over again, fourth down stop, fourth down play, blah, blah, blah. But so interesting. You never know. You never know. It's the beauty of college football right there. They also gave Syracuse like a Clemson like a 95% chance to beat us last year, and look what happened. We upset them at the Dome. So you never know. Diving into this Louisville football squad, a look at their offense. Their quarterback play with Juwan Puma. I don't know why they call him that. There's some story behind it. I think it's ridiculous. So I'm going to say Juwan Pass. Their quarterback play with Juwan Pass is very poor, to be quite honest. There's no other way to put it. He's 144 for 264 on the season. He's got 1,697 total yards. He's thrown 7 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. When your interceptions outweigh your touchdowns by 3, you know it ain't looking good. So that's definitely a bright side for the Orange. Another huge thing about them is, as we know, Syracuse has struggled against the run, basically discrediting last week, because last week we really stopped it. But all season we've struggled against the run, with the exception of last week. But Louisville's leading rusher only has 263 yards the entire season. He's Trey Smith, their starting running back. He's their leading rusher, and he's only got 263 the entire year. And when you think Matt Colburn from Wake Forest torched Louisville for over 240 the week prior. So very, very not good for the Louisville offense. It also shows how impactful and how good Lamar Jackson was. I mean, this team really hasn't changed much besides him, and they've crumbled, like just absolutely fallen apart since losing Lamar Jackson. So it really goes to show maybe how underappreciated he was by us and how good he really was. Now diving into the Louisville Cardinals defense. This defense is ranked last in the ACC Atlantic Coast Conference, and they are ranked 115th nationally. They allow 462.8 yards per ball game. That's a lot of yards. They also have allowed at least 38 points in their last 4 contests. So, good signs for Syracuse. We have a very explosive offense. And here's some reasons why I think Syracuse is going to win the ball game. Syracuse racks up 478 yards a game on average, and they're averaging over 40 points per ball game. So that's huge. It's basically polar opposites of the Louisville defense. They're allowing as much as we're scoring, so that might even give us a little more of an edge to get more than we average and hurt their average a little bit as well. Eric Dungey in this offense also haven't turned the ball over in the last 2 ball games. Against NC State, no turnovers, and against Wake Forest, no turnovers, and that's a huge key part in why we've had success so far this year. We've had minimal turnovers, and especially the last 2 ball games with no turnovers. I think we're just going to go out there and we're going to torch them. We're going to have an offensive field day because really Louisville struggles with both the pass and the run defense, and they're just all around a bad defense altogether. There's really nothing else to say. And we have the most explosive offense in the Atlantic Coast Conference. So very, very excited to see us have a real field day out there. Defensively, our run defense also has improved, as I said. And really, I don't think our defense is going to have any trouble whatsoever. Their offense isn't anything special at all. We're going to continue to pressure the quarterback. We're going to continue to get at him. I wouldn't be surprised if the secondary comes up with an interception or 2, maybe 3. You never know. Wouldn't be surprised, if we can rack up 2, 3 turnovers in this ball game. Maybe even more. So excited to see that, of course. I also think this team just overall knows what's up. They are very well aware they have a chance to be undefeated at home in the Carrier Dome this football season with a win here. And they also know that they have a chance to be ranked nationally in the top 10. I also think that huge in part to this team's confidence in opening the door to a huge blowout here was Dino Babers. Dino Babers took the time. He showed some film, and he also showed the statistics from the last 2 seasons that Syracuse football has faced off against Louisville. And in the last 2 years, we've been outscored 118-38 by the Cardinals. That's really bad, but it all changes this season. Lamar Jackson's gone, and this clearly isn't the same football team. Last year, we didn't have Zach Mahoney. The year before they caught us, they were having a very, very good year, one of the best years Louisville's had in a long time. Lamar Jackson's Heisman season. But there's no excuses. They outscored us 118-38, and a lot of the returning players from the last few seasons know that. The players feel it. Dungey certainly should have a chip on his shoulder, as anybody that has played, and even the freshmen should too, just seeing that. It must be disgusting knowing the success you've had now. Probably makes them really want to torch up Louisville pretty good. They got blown out twice by Louisville, so that if that doesn't give you extra incentive to win, I don't know what does. So my score prediction for this ball game, it's a little bit high. But to be quite honest, we've scored over 50 quite a few times this season. So here's my score prediction. Syracuse comes away with the win in the Carrier Dome. They move on to be 8-2 on the season, undefeated 6-0 at home. Final score of 56-17 in favor of the Orange. That's my prediction, as I said, right there. 56 points for Syracuse. I think the offense just should have no problems out there. They should be able to score with ease in multiple different ways. I think Dungey's going to have a few rushing. He'll have a few passing. The receivers will get in there. A few rushing touchdowns by the running backs. So I think overall it's just going to be a nice field day for the offense. The defense can allow a few points here and there, as we always do, but 17 is a pretty good number. That's a field goal and 2 touchdowns. So I think that's pretty reasonable right there. I want to encourage everybody, please show up Friday night. Please. This team deserves nothing less. They've turned our program around. And there's still a lot to prove, but they've turned it around. We're ranked 13th in the country. It's our last home game. It's senior night for one of our biggest players in the last 3 years, Eric Dungey. Actually, one of our biggest players ever in Syracuse football history, Eric Dungey. Show out for these seniors. Let's fill the dome. I know I'm going to be there. I'm going to be loud. I'm going to be proud, and I can't wait. I'm going to be screaming my head off every third down, every touchdown. Everything like that, I'm very, very excited. So please show up. I know there's a lot of good ticket deals going on. Take advantage of those and show out for Orange Nation. There's no excuses. There's not much high school football going on, just a little bit. So show up. Let's fill that Carrier Dome. #PackTheDome, as they're saying on Twitter and Instagram. With Twitter in mind, please add my Twitter at GeoHeater. As I said before, I really want to get some stuff going on there for you guys. It would be a lot of fun to get some polls, a lot of feedback going on. So we could have a lot of fun with that. So please add the Twitter at GeoHeater, GIOHEATER. If you want to go ahead and add my Instagram, it's the same thing as well, at GeoHeater. So I'll be looking for you guys on there. Episodes coming up in the future, next week sometime probably. Don't know exactly how I'm going to split it up yet. I might do one Saturday during the day, talk about Syracuse football against Louisville, give my insight, what happened at the Dome, whatnot. Or maybe I'll wait till after the Morehead State game, do one big episode, talk football and basketball, do a little double dipping. Not exactly sure yet. Look for those coming up soon. You're also going to be having next week certainly a preview of UConn, because I'm really, for basketball, I'm only going to do a preview of the big games since there are so many. So you'll have a preview of UConn coming up. Also, we'll have a preview later next week for Notre Dame, of course. Can't wait to find out Sunday where College Game Day is going to be going, so I'll definitely be tweeting about all of that. I'll probably tweet throughout the game. I'll be at the Dome. Very excited about that. So stay tuned. Be active on the Twitter. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe, please. And let's go Orange, baby. Beat Louisville.